A blood-soaked man ran frantically down the street, terror-stricken. 3 monsters were chasing him. The man was no match for the monsters. Under the gaze of dozens of cell phones, he was burned to a crisp by the monsters using supernatural means, and the monsters vanished. The local police took over the case. The victim, Ju Myung-hoon, was a 36-year-old man with an ordinary background and nothing suspicious in his past. The incident occurred during the day, with countless eyewitnesses claiming the assailants were 3 monsters that disappeared suddenly after the act, leaving the police baffled and unsure where to begin the investigation. Previously, a sect called New Truth had posted some videos. Even though the incident happened abroad, the monsters in the videos were identical to those in the domestic case. Officer Jin Kyung-hoon and his team were assigned to investigate New Truth to see if any useful clues could be found. His team member checked online and found that New Truth preached that angels would predict someone's death, after which hell's messengers would arrive to take the sinner to hell to suffer. The body was already taken back for examination by the forensic team, which found no other significant traces. It seemed the monsters appeared and disappeared out of nowhere. Nearby, someone was preaching on the street. Officer Kyung-hoon went to check and found Jong Jin-soo, the leader of New Truth, showing a video to the gathered crowd. The video was from a village in Southeast Asia where the same type of monster collected a person's soul in the same manner. Jin-soo explained that these were individuals who had committed grave sins, such as murder and other wicked acts, and the monsters were hell's messengers sent to punish the evil. After the gathering, Officer Kyung-hoon approached Jin-soo for a chat. Jin-soo was cooperative, suggesting they talk while walking as he had an interview to attend. During the conversation, Officer Kyung-hoon unintentionally saw his daughter volunteering for New Truth. Jin-soo, noticing Kyung-hoon's displeasure, promised not to involve his daughter in the future. They headed to the subway station where Jin-soo shared his background. He grew up in an orphanage and had lost hope in life until a profound encounter with a hell's messenger on the Qinghai Tibet Plateau inspired him to live and study these beings, sharing their stories to urge people to embrace kindness and love. Officer Kyung-hoon doubted Jin-soo's words, questioning the need for laws if hell's messengers judged all crimes. Jin-soo mocked him, asking what justice the law had brought him when his wife died a terrible death. At that, Kyung-hoon was left speechless. Their conversation ended as the radio interviewers arrived. When Kyung-hoon got home, his daughter had already gone to sleep, but woke up to assure him that she would no longer participate in New Truth activities. Back in his room, Kyung-hoon was restless. Jin-soo's mention of his wife stirred unease and memories of her brutal murder 6 years ago, which he had been suppressing. The killer, a drug addict who had killed under the influence, was caught quickly, but due to mental health issues, was sentenced to only 10 years and had been released after serving about 6. This fact tormented Kyung-hoon as he reflected on the brief penalty for his wife's life. Single mother Jong-ja returns home to her children holding a birthday cake. Their cramped and humble home is instantly filled with love. Park Jong-ja will die at 3 p.m. in 5 days and go to hell. South Korean society is starting to become chaotic. Broadcaster Lee Dong-wook spreads misleading information online, even inciting fans to attack a novelist who opposes them. The novelist is beaten by a group of minors. Though the police catch the troublemakers, they are protected by juvenile laws and can only be sent to a juvenile detention center after some educational measures. Lawyer Hye Jin, representing the novelist, urges the police to strictly discipline the minors to prevent future incidents. This makes her a sworn enemy of Lee Dong-wook. Upon returning to her office, Hee-jin's colleague drags her to meet a new client. It's a big business opportunity. The client is Jong-ja. The Truth Church is willing to pay 3 billion won to livestream Jong-ja being taken away by a hell messenger. After her divorce, Jong-ja struggles to provide for her children. If she is to die, the money left behind could secure her children's future. With legal assurance, she turns to Hye-jin. Initially reluctant to take on such a bizarre case, Hye-jin's partner convinces her. If there's no supernatural event, it would embarrass the Truth Church, a good outcome, and if it does happen, the money will benefit her children. Hye-jin agrees to take the case. The police forensic team, after numerous experiments, fails to identify a mysterious substance. The captain reprimands them for their incompetence, as a life is brutally taken in broad daylight without any clues found. Officer Kyung-hoon, who previously encountered Truth Church leader Jin-soo, reconnects over the live broadcast event. Jin-soo admits that the church has many wealthy followers and reminds Kyung-hoon that divine will renders human investigation futile. As the live broadcast date approaches, all parties, including Jongja, the police, the church, and Hye-jin, gather at her home to prepare. Hye-jin finalizes legal details and signs a contract with Jin-soo, who also inquires about the children's father. Jongja remains silent, though Jin-soo knows the children have different fathers and suspects a hidden secret in Jongja's past. When the children, hiding in the room, sense their mother being pressured, the elder rushes out to defend her. Jongja quickly sends him back and tearfully begs Jin-soo and the lawyer to ensure her children are well cared for after her death. Meanwhile, Kyung-hoon's daughter stops calling him, staying at a classmate's for a study session. Actually, she meets Jin-soo to discuss her mother's past tragedy, feeling guilty for a mishap that led to her mother's death. Suddenly, broadcaster Lee Dong-wook leaks Jongja's information online, including her children's photos and names, stirring his followers to harass her. Fortunately, Kyung-hoon and Hye-jin quickly intervene at the scene. Hye-jin sent the siblings to Canada, as per Jongja's wish, to temporarily hide away. The younger sister, unaware of the journey's significance, while the brother, more mature, knew they wouldn't see their mother again. Overcome with emotion, he began to cry loudly. From then on, the siblings would rely solely on each other. Meanwhile, Jin-soo and daughter approached a roadside convenience store where a drunk man emerged. Daughter instantly recognized him as the killer of her mother years ago. With Jin-soo's encouragement, she stunned the man with a taser. They then placed the assailant in an incinerator. The daughter watched calmly, feeling no inner turmoil, believing this act was justice for her deceased mother. The next morning, a journalist received a tip about a charred body at a farm, likely the murderer from 6 years prior. This incident was suspected to be the work of the Hell's Messenger. Upon seeing the news, Officer Kyung-hoon was overwhelmed with thoughts. The next day, during a live broadcast, a narrow road was crammed with spectators eager to see the true face of the Hell's Messenger. Snipers were positioned in case of riots, and a house's exterior was removed to set up 12 chairs for wealthy viewers, each seat valued at approximately 250 million. Jongja, visibly distressed, walked out and sat in one of the chairs. As the countdown began, the doors exploded open, and 3 Hell's Messengers arrived, grabbing Jongja and wounding her arm. Officer Kyung-hoon, seeing this, ordered the sniper to fire. However, the sniper, paralyzed with fear, failed to react promptly. Kyung-hoon then attempted to shoot, but the bullets were ineffective, further provoking the assailants, who then threw him aside. Nobody could stop the 3 messengers. The scene was horrific, and Jongja soon died. The sight horrified both on-site and television viewers. After absorbing Jongja's soul, the messengers leapt away, disappearing before everyone. The 12 sponsors first knelt in worship, soon followed by the surrounding reporters and spectators. Hye-jin watched this absurd scene, barely believing her eyes. Meanwhile, Officer Kyung-hoon awoke in a hospital, feeling all right, and decided to go home, finding his daughter missing and her phone off. After a restless night, he returned to an eerily empty police station. The news reported widespread belief in the Hell's Messenger, instantly elevating the Truth Religion's fame and followers. During a live interview with Jin-soo, Kyung-hoon recognized his daughter's coat hanging next to Jin-soo. Connecting the dots, he realized Jin-soo was likely manipulating events behind the scenes. He urgently rushed to Jin-soo's apartment, planning to confront him. On the way, he encountered many odd people living in temporary tents, all followers hoping to meet their leader, Jin-soo. Unlike these passive followers, Officer Kyung-hoon directly approached Jin-soo's residence, smashing the door lock to enter, only to find no one inside and his daughter's clothes missing. This action angered the followers, who, losing their reason, thought it disrespectful to their leader. They attacked Officer Kyung-hoon, beating him severely until a call from Jin-soo stopped them. As Jin-soo appeared on a video call, asking everyone to remain calm and stating he wished to meet with Officer Kyung-hoon, the crowd parted, letting Kyung-hoon leave with his phone held high. He then drove to the address given by Jin-soo. Meanwhile, Lee Dong-wook was causing trouble by broadcasting a video of everyone kneeling, selectively criticizing only Hye-jin for not kneeling, stirring up controversy online and inciting fans to attack a law office. Upon learning this, Hye-jin, declaring the world was now lawless, booked a flight intending to leave with her mother. She remembered an anonymous package received the day before, containing a 2004 recording of a pastor interviewing Jin-soo. Finding this pastor might unravel everything, Hye-jin planned to return to her law office for assistance, but found a chaotic scene with writings left by followers. After calling her partner, who was dying in the street after being beaten by followers, he warned her not to interfere anymore. Soon after hanging up, he died. Panicked, Hye-jin rushed back to the parking lot, only to find Lee Dong-wook's fans had found her car, dragged her 60-year-old mother out, and beat her. Hye-jin tried to protect her mother, but was also beaten and filmed by the fans, who left after venting their anger. The mother and daughter were hospitalized, but Hye-jin's mother died from excessive blood loss. Filled with a resolve to prevent further harm and uncover Jin-soo's true nature, Hye-jin decided to meet the pastor. Meanwhile, Officer Kyung-hoon, following Jin-soo's directions, arrived at an abandoned orphanage where Jin-soo revealed the truth. In 2002, as an orphan, he first met an angel who predicted that he would be taken by the Hell's Messenger at 10:30 p.m. tonight, 20 years later. Kyung-hoon questioned why the Hell's Messenger, known for taking only the wicked, would take him. Jin-soo, calm, stated he had never stolen even a pen or done wrong, and was unsure of the specific rules the messengers followed. He admitted to directing his daughter to burn the murderer and suggested Kyung-hoon could film him admitting guilt or choose to leave silently. As they spoke, 3 messengers appeared and quickly killed Jin-soo, absorbing his soul. Hye-jin, having found the pastor, listened to the 2004 interview recording where Jin-soo discussed his ignorance of the messenger's rules and his impending death. After playing it, the pastor deleted the file, revealing that Jin-soo had promised he would be the next leader of the truth religion. After learning the news, Hye-jin immediately rushed out the door. Unexpectedly, the entrance was already blocked by followers. Several people surged forward, beating Hye-jin with baseball bats. Officer Kyung-hoon returned home to find his daughter waiting for him. He embraced her and cried involuntarily. Elsewhere, Hye-jin's cold body was abandoned on a pile of rocks. With her death, the pursuit of the truth was halted. The scene shifts to 2027, 5 years later. The truth religion has become the most influential sect in Korea, with countless followers nationwide. Some, prophesied by angels, had preemptively taken their own lives. Hell's messengers still appeared to judge souls. The pastor who took over the truth religion brainwashed people with the belief that all are sinners, and salvation comes through faith, misleading many. On this day, the truth religion visited a TV station to review the latest promotional film. The high priest had many comments about the music in the sample. Bae Young-jae, the creator of the film, was naturally displeased with the criticism. The conversation was tense. A colleague intervened to ease the atmosphere, and the station manager finally stabilized the situation. Bae Young-jae's wife had given birth a few days earlier, so he was anxious to see his son after work. Receiving instructions to revise the promotional film, meant he had to work overtime, explaining his reluctance. He planned to consult with a colleague about the work, but found the colleague absent, with only a loan company card that had "asserting fishery" written on the back. The colleague appeared suddenly and snatched the card back. They were supposed to edit the video together, but the colleague insisted on leaving immediately, leaving Bae Young-jae to finish the work alone. After work, he rushed to the hospital, feeling that something was off with his colleague who had recently taken a high-interest loan. Concerned, Bae Young-jae decided to check out Yangpyeong Fishery, mentioned on the card. There, he found his colleague's car, but no sign of him. After walking around, he saw his colleague's lonely figure. Upon further questioning, the colleague revealed that he had seen an angel prophesying his descent to hell that very night, with only minutes left until the messenger's appearance. The truth religion now dominated Korea. Families of the so-called sinners were stigmatized, shunned by others. The colleague had found an organization named Sutu that helped sinners disappear, protecting their families. As they spoke, a hell's messenger appeared and brutally killed the colleague, then absorbed his soul. Sutu's people promptly arrived to take away the charred body. A man removed his mask, revealing his face, and warned Bae Young-jae to forget the night's events. In the distance, the person commanding this was Hye-jin, surprisingly alive but with a deep scar on her forehead. Sutu's people then administered an anesthetic to Bae Young-jae. When Bae Young-jae awoke, it was already daylight. Remembering he hadn't seen his child, he hurried to the hospital. His wife lay in bed, exhausted. Bae Young-jae explained he had been editing videos overnight. His wife handed him her phone, playing a video she had taken the previous day. In the video, an angel said their child would go to hell by 9:30 a.m. in 3 days. A sinner? How could a newborn be considered a sinner? The police took over the case of my colleague's disappearance and went to investigate at the fishery. The high priest of the truth sect also came to investigate. The police treated the high priest and his followers with great respect, not daring to neglect them, showing the tremendous authority of the truth sect at the time. The police soon discovered that my colleague had taken a high-interest loan not long ago and had bought cigarettes at a convenience store in Incheon Port last night. It was assumed he had fled abroad to escape his debts. Upon learning that the truth sect was not involved in this case, the high priest planned to leave. However, before leaving, he carefully noticed a card marked with Sutu Loans by the shore, took a photo of it with his phone, feeling something was amiss. Bae Young-jae returned to the radio station, but he was completely dispirited. Why should a newborn be deemed a sinner? No parent could endure such a devastating blow. Suddenly, he remembered last night's events. The man who took off his mask seemed familiar. He rushed to the archives and had his colleague pull up the video. The man had appeared at the TV station. His name was Gong Gyosu, and his phone number was also in the archives. Another one predicted by the angels. The truth sect quickly took over. The high priest discovered many Sutu Loans cards at the man's house and eventually extracted information about the Sutu organization from him. He took the related materials and videos back to discuss with the sect leader. Sutu was clearly opposing the truth sect, and their leader was the once thought dead Hye-jin. The priest, enraged upon learning that Hye-jin was alive, gave the high priest full authority to use all resources and means to eliminate the Sutu organization. Bae Young-jae soon found Gong Gyosu, who no longer hid the truth. 5 years ago, Hye-jin had found the priest after hearing recordings of the former professor, Jin-soo, and realized the truth sect was a fraud. The so-called sinners were just randomly chosen with no rules. Starting with the original Jin-soo, the title of sinner was just a means to deceive the world. Now, half the world believed in the truth sect, all deceived by this lie. Even if some innocents were prophesied, the truth sect would find ways to frame them to solidify its rule. After hearing Gong Gyosu's words, Bae Young-jae produced a video filmed by his wife, hoping the Sutu organization could help. Inside the secret base, Hye-jin received Bae Young-jae. She stated that an infant being prophesied by an angel had never happened before, and that such an event would destroy the foundation of the truth sect because an infant could not possibly be guilty. Hye-jin said she could not change the outcome but hoped Bae Young-jae would agree to livestream the process of the angel taking the soul, striking a fatal blow to the truth sect with the truth, sacrificing one child but saving the world. However, Bae Young-jae disagreed, finding it too cruel to broadcast his son's death. Despite this, Hyejin still handed him a business card, urging him to consider it. Gong Gyosu escorted Bae Young-jae downstairs and shared a past event when he and his daughter had encountered an angelic prophecy, and within 30 seconds, his daughter was judged by the Hell Messenger. Recalling that the process was quick, his daughter's death felt like an accident, luckier than others who suffered for days or years. After speaking, Gong Gyosu left alone. On the high priest's side, they found a sinner's family, and through torture, obtained Gong Gyosu's name and phone number. They intercepted Gong Gyosu and, without a word, pushed him into an incinerator, burning him to ashes. Later, using Gong Gyosu's car records, they located Hyejin's exact location. The Truth Sect's people were not suited for such despicable acts, leaving the tasks of murder, silencing, and message blocking to Lee Dong-wook. Hyejin is no longer the vulnerable rookie she once was. Sensing something was off, she left early. Even if a few people chased her, they were no match for her. After returning home, Bae Young-jae shared the day's events with his wife, who showed no reaction. The next day, Bae Young-jae returned to the TV station, only to find the news broadcasting the burning of Gong Gyosu to ashes. The Cult of Truth accused the professor of being a sinner, declaring this as a judgment result. They also stated that the next sinner would be Hyejin. Just as he put down his phone, Hyejin called to ask if Bae Young-jae had made up his mind, warning that delaying could render her unable to help. Bae Young-jae replied that he had just returned to work at the TV station and had not decided yet. Hyejin, sensing the critical moment, advised him not to leave his wife and child alone at home, guessing correctly. After a struggle, his wife unexpectedly took their child and went directly to the Cult of Truth headquarters to inquire why a newborn would be sinful. Upon receiving a text from his wife, Bae Young-jae realized the gravity of the situation and immediately informed Hyejin. Both rushed towards the cult headquarters. The high priest, in charge of receiving his wife, also sensed trouble after seeing the video and reported it to the pastor. After viewing it, the church's leaders realized the implications were unimaginable if the matter leaked, potentially shaking the entire sect's beliefs and raising doubts among all Koreans. The only solution was to eliminate everyone aware of the situation. As Hyejin and Bae Young-jae arrived at the cult with their group, a member named Su-tu loudly declared that he would be judged in 10 minutes, causing chaos. Seizing the moment, Hyejin and Bae Young-jae rushed upstairs. Just as they arrived, the cult members attempted to snatch the child. Hyejin, wielding an iron rod, managed to rescue the child after a series of dodges and escapes, and they safely left the premises. Arriving at a safe house, they were greeted by a rugged, bearded man who revealed that he was once a devout follower of the Cult of Truth. However, after receiving a message from an angel, he began to doubt the cult's doctrines and eventually defected. Bae Young-jae's wife, after much thought, agreed to Hyejin's request to live stream. Hyejin immediately went live, releasing a video of the child's prophesied fate and announcing a live broadcast of the child's trial the next day. The pastor, seeing the live stream, realized the cult was in a vulnerable position and their original plans were disrupted. Some suggested that everyone is born with original sin, but this contradicted their old doctrines. Others speculated that Hyejin's video might be fake, but there was no need for such elaborate measures if that were the case. The cult's leaders felt threatened. The next day, as Hyejin and his wife were discussing the live stream, the bearded man suddenly left, revealing that he was the clan leader from the days of Lee Dong-wook. Having received a prophetic message, he felt hopeless and stopped appearing online, living in constant worry. He was hiding on a street corner, calling the pastor to disclose the whereabouts of Hyejin and Bae Young-jae. Originally intending to confront the pastor about why the child needed to be judged, he was brainwashed into believing that judging the child was correcting a mistake made by God. The pastor promised him safety and labeled him a savior if things went as planned. The bearded man discarded his phone to leave a trail for the cult. While Hyejin arranged for the live streaming, the person responsible for it was attacked downstairs. Bae Young-jae, going downstairs, encountered the bearded man and realized he had betrayed them. The bearded man pushed Bae Young-jae down the stairs, knocking him unconscious. Meanwhile, Hyejin fought with the bearded man in the room. As the judgment time approached and his wife felt helpless, she carried the child and burst outside, calling on bystanders to livestream the situation. The so-called God, the so-called messenger, now seeks to judge an infant not even a month old. As a result, dozens of live streams begin as people grab their smartphones. The hellish messenger arrives as expected. The wife frantically tries to protect the child, fleeing in all directions. At this moment, Bae Young-jae arrives, and the couple embrace, holding their son tightly, just like before. After the messenger collects the souls, they disappear, leaving the couple burned to ashes. Unexpectedly, a cry breaks the solemn atmosphere at the scene. The child, protected by his parents, remains unharmed. The bearded man is surprised and raises his knife to kill the child, but Hyejin arrives in time to knock him away. During their scuffle, the hellish messenger reappears. Quickly defeats the bearded man and takes his soul. Hyejin, staggering, picks up the child and leaves. Local residents, now aware of the truth, help the child with a coat and make way for Hyejin. When the high priest of the cult of truth arrives to take the child, angry residents detain him. The high priest loses control and beats an innocent old man. A nearby police officer cannot stand by and arrests the high priest on the spot. As snow begins to fall at night, Hyejin walks to a back alley and boards a taxi. The driver, surprisingly, is Kyung-hoon, a police officer not seen for years. Knowing where the police will check, he expertly navigates out of the city with Hyejin. Meanwhile, at Jongja's home, where the cult of truth had kept a body on display as a sinner, a strange scene unfolds with smoke filling the air. Jongja comes back to life.